Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
Hello everyone, how's life? About a month ago I did the Disneyland Paris attractions tier list video which I posted on this channel and you all seem to really enjoy it. I really enjoyed it as well, and in the comments a lot of you were saying that you would like me to continue doing tier list videos with other Disney things like Pixar films, Disney princesses, and all of these things are coming. But today I am going to rate all the attractions in Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World, because let's face it, after Disneyland Paris, Walt Disney World is my most visited Disney theme park. So I know Walt Disney World pretty well as well. I've been on almost all their attractions. So yeah, we're gonna start with Magic Kingdom because it's the main park, and again, if you want me to, I can do the same thing with other parks in Disney World like Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, etc. I've got my laptop here with me, so if I look down constantly it's because I'm looking at the screen. But without further ado, let's get to it. So just like before, I've made my tier list with 5 levels. The first one being phenomenal, then we've got really cool, then we've got decent enough, which is like the middle section, and then below decent enough we've got the meh section, which is kind of not very good, and then of course at the very bottom we've got WTF, which I'm very excited about actually, because I feel like Magic Kingdom does have quite a lot of WTF rides. I have also arranged all the attractions as well so that they're organized based on what land they're in. Again, I'm just more or less using an already made template, and for some reason they put Buzz Lightyear's laser blast twice in this, so obviously I'm only going to use it once, and there's going to be one extra Buzz Lightyear situation at the end of this tier list. Right, let's start with the first one. So here in the very beginning we've got Peter Pan's Flight, which is actually a very popular ride in Disney World. It's one that's normally very hard to get a fast pass for, and people seem to really enjoy it. I think it's very overrated. I've never used a fast pass on it. I think there are so many other better rides in Magic Kingdom that it would be a waste in my opinion, especially if you've been on the one in Disneyland Paris, which is more or less the same, just slightly better because it's been more recently renovated, so everything looks a bit shinier in that one. Why would I want to waste a precious fast pass on the one in Magic Kingdom? The last time I actually got to do it was when I was in Walt Disney World last year with my aunt and cousin, and it was one of the after hours evenings, so all the rides had very minimal queues, and that's why we went on it, and we were all so disappointed with it. Thankfully we didn't have to queue for it at all, because like I said, it was one of the events where there's not many people in there, so there's no queues. That's the whole point of those events. But yeah, it just reminded me how bad it is. I mean, it's not a bad ride, it's just not worth queuing that much or spending a fast pass on it. So we are gonna put Peter Pan's Flight in either decent enough or meh. I'm tempted to put it in meh, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I just don't like it. Like, I'll be absolutely fine if I never get to go on it again in Disney World. Yeah, we're gonna have to be honest here and just go for the meh category. Anyway, next we have the Carousel, which I don't actually know what it's called in Magic Kingdom. In Disneyland Paris it's called the Carousel of Lancelot. Let me see what it's called in Magic Kingdom. Oh, of course, it's come back to me now. Yeah, the Carousel in Magic Kingdom is called Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, which makes sense because it's the Cinderella Castle. I've only been on this ride in Magic Kingdom maybe once, and it was a good ride. It's basically the same as the one in Disneyland Paris. They're very similar. It's just a carousel at the end of the day. It is magical, but I find it more magical in Disneyland Paris because I find Disneyland Paris's Fantasyland more beautiful, and I think that's really what makes the ride, because if you take all the scenery around it away, it's literally just a carousel. So I don't know. Again, I'm tempted to put this in either meh or decent enough, but we're gonna go with decent enough because there's still something about just being on a carousel that makes me happy, something nostalgic that takes you back to your childhood, and obviously being on a carousel in any Disney park can feel that extra magical feeling. So I'm okay with putting in decent enough for now. Things might change at the end. Next we've got the Winnie the Pooh ride, which I actually really enjoy, you know. It's one of my favorite dark rides in Magic Kingdom. I definitely prefer it to Peter Pan's Flight. It can be really fun. I love it when Tigger starts bouncing, and I don't know, whenever I've been on it I've had a good time, but I don't think it's really cool. Like, I can't say this ride is really cool. It's just good. So this one's going in the decent enough category as well. Next we have the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is one of the more recent rides in Magic Kingdom. I think it only opened about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little bit before that. Anyway, I really enjoy this ride. I do think it's quite short, and I don't think it's like a ride that I get overly excited about, but it's definitely one of my favorite rides in Magic Kingdom. So normally if I'm trying to make fast passes, you know, back when COVID wasn't a thing and there was fast passes available, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train would normally be one of the first ones that I would try and get in Magic Kingdom. So I am gonna put this in really cool because it is a lot of fun. I like the fact that it's both a roller coaster and a bit of a dark ride as well. I like the fact that they've used the animatronics from the Snow White ride on it. That bit is actually really fun, kind of at the end of the ride when you get to sing with the Seven Dwarfs and Snow White. It's a fun time, you know. It's a really fun ride. I actually prefer rides like this than rides that are just roller coasters, because these are more magical. You feel the theming better, and I think the theming for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is really good. So yeah, really cool. The first one in the really cool category. Next we have the Teacups. Now the Teacups in Magic Kingdom, again, as a ride is basically the same as any other Disney park around the world. However, I have a big issue with the location of the teacups, as you might know. If you haven't checked out my video comparing Disneyland Paris to Walt Disney World, I'll leave the link down below, but you might get a better idea as to why I don't like the teacups in Magic Kingdom. But I just think the place is located in Disney World, in Magic Kingdom, is just awful. Like, it just doesn't make sense. When you're on the teacups, you can see parts of Tomorrowland, and why would you want that, you know? Teacups is meant to be bang in the middle of Fantasyland. When you're on the teacups, you want to really feel like you're in a Fantasyland and everything around you is cute and beautiful and magical. But you don't really get that in Magic Kingdom because, as I said, your surroundings, you can see a bit of Fantasyland, but you also get to see a bit of Tomorrowland, and that just makes no sense to me. Also, I'm just generally not a big fan of the teacups ride anywhere. Even in Disneyland Paris, I'm not a fan of it just because I don't like rides that spin you. I'm not a fan of that. They make me feel sick. So whilst they can be fun every now and again, I don't really appreciate them. So I'm gonna put them in the meh category because they're not quite WTF yet, because they're a staple of almost every Disney park. So they deserve to be at least a meh. Next, we have another favorite of mine in Magic Kingdom, which is PhilharMagic. I remember the first time I went into this attraction, I was so amazed. I had such a great time. And on my very first Disney World trip back in 2015, this was the attraction that I went to the most because it was so hot. It was in June of 2015. Again, if you want to check out my vlogs, I'll leave them down below. But it was so hot that I just needed the aircon on this attraction. And of all the attractions in Magic Kingdom that do have aircon, this was my favorite because not only did I get to be away from the heat for a bit, I also got to see a fantastic show. Like, I really enjoyed the show. I love the songs. I think it's hilarious. Donald is so funny in it. It just takes me on an adventure. It's like pure escapism for, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes, however long the show is. So I am going to put PhilharMagic in the phenomenal category. Yay! We've got our first phenomenal attraction. All right. Next, we've got Dumbo, and one thing that I don't like about Dumbo in Magic Kingdom, again, is that they actually have two Dumbos right next to each other. I understand why they've done it. It's because obviously having two means that they can have more people on them, so it makes sense for a very popular resort like Walt Disney World. However, I think it just takes away the cuteness of it just being one ride. Whenever I see Dumbo in Magic Kingdom, I'm like, why are there two of them? The picture I've always had of Dumbo as a child is just that one right in the middle of Fantasyland, because that's what it's like in Disneyland California, and it's the same in Disneyland Paris as well. So not the biggest fan of the fact that there's two of them. However, I've been on Dumbo in Magic Kingdom a couple of times and it can be very fun, and the reason for that is because it's located in the kind of circusy area of Fantasyland. So that's something that's quite unique to Walt Disney World, and no other Disney park, as far as I'm aware, has such a huge part of their Fantasyland dedicated to like a circusy vibe, and I actually really like that part of Fantasyland in Magic Kingdom. So because of that, I do kind of enjoy it. So these two things kind of cross each other out and they make Dumbo a decent enough ride. Marvelous. Right, next we have It's a Small World, which, as many of you know, is one of my absolute favorite rides in Disneyland Paris. However, the one in Magic Kingdom I really don't like. This was again proven to me last year when I was there at one of the after hours events where you could go on all the rides like as many times as you wanted because it's quite quiet, and we went on It's a Small World without queuing much, and Lord have mercy, all three of us, me, my cousin and my aunt, were so annoyed at the fact that we'd gone on it because it's so long, it's so boring, it takes ages. The boats in It's a Small World in Magic Kingdom for some reason run so much slower than the ones in Disneyland Paris. I don't get it, but we felt trapped on that ride for so long, and it's just not as beautiful. The exterior of It's a Small World in Magic Kingdom obviously isn't as nice as the one in Paris, but also just the ride itself as well. The boats are smaller, they're narrower. It doesn't look as pretty inside. Like, you can see the warehouse vibes of it when you're on that ride in Magic Kingdom, and it's also just very long. It feels so much more boring than any of the other It's a Small Worlds that I've been on around the world. So I've been on It's a Small World in Disneyland California. Obviously I've been on the one in Disneyland Paris many a time, and I also went on it a couple of times when I went to Hong Kong Disneyland last year with my friend, and I loved it in Hong Kong. I loved it in California. I obviously love it in Paris. I don't understand why it's so bad and so inferior in Walt Disney World. I'm tempted to put this in WTF, but I kind of can't, because whilst I don't enjoy it personally, I do enjoy Small World as a franchise. The idea of it in other parks is beautiful, and it's my favorite ride in Disneyland Paris. So I'm gonna have to put this in the meh category because I just really don't like it. Like, again, I would be absolutely happy to never have to go on it again in my life. Next, we have, I believe this looks like the Barnstormer, which I think recently Disney actually announced that they're gonna be getting rid of it. I might be wrong. Anyway, the Barnstormer is a unique ride in Magic Kingdom, and I've been on it a few times, and every time I go on it, it's a laugh. Like, it's hilarious because it's such a bad roller coaster. It's painful, it just like makes you go like this constantly, but it's also really fun. So I don't think it's a great ride by any means, but there's something about it that is charming. It's just brought me a lot of laughs every time I've been on it. Like, I'd much rather go on the Barnstormer than It's a Small World in Magic Kingdom, because It's a Small World in Magic Kingdom just absolutely bores me, whereas the Barnstormer just makes me laugh and gives me a couple of bruises. So I'm actually gonna put this indecent enough. I know that might be ridiculous, but I just think it makes sense because it has to be a little bit above It's a Small World. Right, next we have the Ariel ride, so Little Mermaid ride, whatever you want to call it, which is one of my favorite rides again in Walt Disney World. And so I'm not even going to talk about it too much because this is very easy for me. This is definitely going in the phenomenal category. Fun fact for you, actually, Disneyland Paris was meant to be getting this ride as well, and it makes me sad that they never got it. I'm actually going to be making a video coming up very, very soon talking about all the attractions that Disneyland Paris was going to have that they ended up not getting for whatever reason. So look out for that. Make sure you're subscribed because that is going to be coming up very soon. But yeah, so far our list is looking pretty good. We've got nothing in the WTF category yet. We've got 2 in the phenomenal category, which is great. And yeah, the middle section looks pretty good as well. So we are now moving on to Tomorrowland, and the first attraction that we've got here is, of course, Space Mountain, one of the biggest iconic things that you see in any Tomorrowland. I'm not the biggest fan of Space Mountain in Walt Disney World, I'm not gonna lie. It's alright, you know, I enjoy it when I go on it, but I think it's really, really outdated, and compared to Space Mountain in Disneyland Paris and even in California, it's just not good enough. So I'm gonna have to put it in the decent enough category right next to the Barnstormer, which I know a lot of people are going to be annoyed about because this kind of means that the Barnstormer and Space Mountain are equal in terms of how good they are, but hear me out, they kind of are. Next we have the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, which I've only done this attraction once, and it was with my friend Rebecca a few years ago. It was so much fun though, and I think it's because we got really lucky and my friend Rebecca got picked on, so she was kind of part of the show. So I have really fond memories of this attraction, but it's definitely not one that I feel the need to go on again, which is why I've only experienced it that one time. Am I gonna miss it if they take it away? No. But do I have great memories from that one time I experienced it? Yes. Do I think it's a phenomenal attraction? No way. Did I have a great time there? Yeah. This is really hard, but I think we're gonna add another attraction right in the middle in the decent enough category, because I do like that it's kind of a different attraction, you know, it's quite fun. Not all attractions have to be rides, and this is a really fun attraction. You know, you can go in there, sit down, get a bit of aircon and hear a couple of jokes with the Monsters Inc. characters, which we all love. Okay, next we have the Tomorrowland Speedway, which I have actually never been on this ride in Magic Kingdom. I've done it in Disneyland Paris, but never in Magic Kingdom. I would presume it's a similar kind of vibe though to Autopia in Disneyland Paris. Again, almost all Disney parks have a ride like this. I don't really get the appeal of them. It's not for me. I don't really like the idea of driving. I don't drive myself. I have no interest in driving. The point of them is to make kids happy, like give kids the chance to drive for the first time. And so I get why they're there, but yeah, I'm not a fan of them, so we're gonna put this right next to It's a Small World in the meh category. Right, next we have the Buzz Lightyear laser blast situation in Tomorrowland, which I've done a couple of times and I'm not a fan of it at all because it's really hard in my opinion. Maybe I'm just really bad at it, but at least in Disneyland Paris you can get the guns out and actually move the guns about, whereas in Magic Kingdom, their version, you can't even move the guns. They're like stuck to the vehicle, so you just have to like try and move. It's just not fun. I hate it. I really, really do. It just frustrates me because, as I said, I'm really bad at this attraction anyway, even in Disneyland Paris, but at least in Disneyland Paris I can move the gun about, whereas in this one I can't. But having said all this, I still think it's a decent enough ride because if you're good at it, you're gonna enjoy it, and I love Toy Story, so I'm gonna have to put this in a decent enough category. Next we have Astro Orbiters, I think it's called in Magic Kingdom. This is the equivalent to Orbitron in Disneyland Paris, and I actually think I prefer Astro Orbiters to Orbitron just because it goes a little bit higher than the one in Paris. Like, you actually have to get in a lift to get on the ride, which is so cool. I just really enjoy both Orbitron and Astro Orbiters for some reason. A lot of people don't care about them, but for some reason I just really enjoy both of them. I enjoy the feeling of getting the wind in your face and feeling like you're in a spaceship and going up really high. It's the perfect amount of thrill for me, so it's not too crazy, but it's also not just like Dumbo where it's just going round and round for no reason. So I think I'm gonna have to put this ride in the really cool category next to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Okay, right, the last two attractions we have here in Tomorrowland are two of the weirdest attractions, in my opinion, attractions in Walt Disney World. So the first one is the Carousel of Progress, which I can't even tell. Lord have mercy. Just watch any of my vlogs from Disney World where I've been on this attraction and you will see exactly how I feel about this. I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't understand why this attraction still exists. I get that when it was first made, it probably was quite cool because it shows you, like, you know, the progress that the world has made in terms of technology and everything else. And yeah, the animatronics in this attraction are really, really cool, and the song is really fun. I think the song is actually really good, but the attraction itself, just like, I don't get it. Every time I go on it, I'm literally thinking to myself, WTF. So this is 100% going at the very bottom in the WTF category. I think the only reason people love this attraction is because they just feel nostalgic towards it. For instance, they might have gone to Walt Disney World so many times over the years since they were little, and that's probably why this attraction means a lot to them, because they have really fun memories of being on it when they were younger. But I think if you're going to a Disney park for the first time and you somehow end up on that attraction, you're just going to be absolutely confused. You're going to be thinking, what the hell is this? I think most people would agree with me. So WTF it is, I'm afraid. Next we have the People Mover. Now my feelings towards the People Mover have kind of changed over the years. Like the first time I went on it, I was like, what the hell is this again? Like I thought it was so confusing. Why is there a thing to just take you around Tomorrowland? Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom isn't even that pretty, so it's not even like you've got loads of cute things to look at. However, you can get some nice views of the park overall on that ride. For instance, the castle. So that's my favorite part of being on the People Mover, is when it approaches the castle and you get to see the castle from a different angle. So that's really cool, and it's a nice sit down. I get it. This can be a nice sit down. That isn't a full sit down because you're actually moving. And whilst I don't particularly enjoy like the ride itself, I do appreciate what it does for me when I'm really tired at the end of a park day and I just want to sit for a bit. And it gives me some decent views every now and again. So I have come to learn to appreciate the People Mover, even though I still think the name of it is absolutely ridiculous. Like, who thought it was a good idea to make a ride and call it the People Mover? I just don't understand. However, I am going to put this in the decent enough category because I do enjoy going on it just to sit. Next, and this isn't unique to any particular ride because this is the railroad, which goes through basically all the lands in Magic Kingdom. Again, almost every Disney park has a ride like this because Walt Disney was a big fan of trains and it's a staple part of most Disney parks. And yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's just meh though. I don't think it's anything special. So yeah, we're going to put it in the meh category. Okay, we have now moved on to Frontierland in Magic Kingdom, and the first attraction we have here is the Country Bear Jamboree. Believe it or not, I've actually done this attraction as well. I did it with my friend Rebecca, I think on my first trip to Disney World, and I actually enjoyed it. I can't believe I'm saying this. It was just really funny. I was laughing a lot, and I don't think I was laughing in a good way. Like, it wasn't like I was laughing because the attraction was hilariously funny. I was just laughing because the attraction was really bad, but it was also fun. Like, there was some fun moments, and again, the animatronics were really cool. I think it's quite an iconic part of Walt Disney World. A lot of Disney World fans seem to love this attraction. However, I've noticed a lot of Disney World fans haven't ever even done this. So some of the UK based Disney World vloggers that I follow have never even been to this attraction, so clearly not everyone really cares about it, but I've done it and I enjoyed it, and I would happily go and do it again. I'm not gonna like run to it as soon as the park opens, but if I've done almost everything else in Magic Kingdom and just want a bit of a sit down again and a bit of a laugh, I'll happily go into the Country Bear Jamborees. So there you go, we're gonna put this in the decent enough category. Okay, next we have Big Thunder Mountain, which, fun fact, Big Thunder Mountain is my favorite ride of all time, but the one in Disneyland Paris, because the one in Disneyland Paris is just a lot faster, it's scarier, it's longer, it's better. Having said that though, the one in Disney World is also very good. Whilst it doesn't match up to the one in Paris, I do still really enjoy it. It's definitely my, or at least one of my favorite mountains in Disney World, so I'm gonna put this in the really cool category because it's not phenomenal. The only phenomenal Thunder Mountain is the one in Paris, but it's still a good ride. Next we have, I think these are meant to be the boats that take you to the Tom Sawyer Island in Frontierland, and it's something to do, again, if you're really tired and you've done almost everything else in the parks and you just want a bit of peace. It can be nice to get on one of these rafts, as my friend Rebecca called them. I was talking to my friend Rebecca earlier, I was like, what would you call these boats? And she had a quick look and she couldn't figure it out, and I don't think there is an official name for these rafts, but my friend Rebecca was like, just call them Tom's Rafts. So we're gonna call them Tom's Rafts in honor of Rebecca, and also because it's fun to call Tom Sawyer Tom because we know him very well. Anyway, I don't think they're anything special. There's nothing to them really. They just literally take you to Tom Sawyer's Island. That's the whole point of them. There's no like phenomenal scenery or anything. I mean, yeah, they're all right. Meh is probably the best place for them to be. Okay, next we have Splash Mountain, which, if you don't know, Disney announced last year that they're going to be revamping Splash Mountain both in Disneyland California and in Walt Disney World to a Princess and the Frog themed ride, which is very exciting. I think it's long overdue because Song of the South is just not the best film to have a whole ride based on. A lot of people that go on Splash Mountain don't even know what Song of the South was. They've never even watched it. So I think in that way you can say it's kind of okay, but I mean, Princess and the Frog is such a great film anyway that I'm so excited for the change. However, as far as I'm aware, the ride itself is going to stay the same, so it's going to be the exact same mechanism of what the ride does. It's just going to be different theming. And all of that aside, I have to say that I actually really enjoy Splash Mountain because it's a really fun ride. As I've said before, I like rides that aren't just like a roller coaster, that kind of mix things up, and Splash Mountain is exactly that. There's a bit of thrill with the drops and everything. You get wet, which can be fun if you're really hot, and also there's a bit of animatronics to have a look at and kind of sing along with, and that's really fun. I always enjoy singing along with the characters on the ride. You know, the songs in Song of the South are really good. I think no one can deny that, even though the film itself probably should never have been made because it does have a lot of racist connotations in it. The songs are good, you know, the songs are really, really catchy and really fun. So I really like this ride, which means I'm gonna have to put this in the phenomenal category because I love it as it is, but I think I'm gonna love it even more once it's changed to Princess and the Frog, because what I love most about the ride is the basic of it, the fact that it's a water ride, it drops you, so it's like, you know, you get the thrills, you scream a lot, I scream a lot whenever I go on it, but you also have those kind of chill moments where you get to enjoy the views and the animatronics and sing along. And from my understanding, it's going to be exactly the same once it's changed to Princess and the Frog. It's just going to be with the Princess and the Frog characters, which is going to be even better than what we have already. So there you go. We have 3 attractions in the phenomenal category right now, which is pretty cool. Now we have moved on to Liberty Square, which is a land unique to Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World. And the first attraction we've got here is the Hall of Presidents. Now, Hall of Presidents is one of the only rides that I've never done in Magic Kingdom. It's not even a ride, is it? An attraction. And the reason I've never done it is because I genuinely just have no interest. Like, I've walked past it many times and I just haven't felt the need to go and check it out. As far as I'm aware though, it's quite a long show. Like, it takes about 20 minutes, so I just don't want to waste my time going in it. One day I will though. Like, I think next time I go to Disney World, whenever that may be, because now we have Biden as the main president of America, I think I might enjoy it a little bit more. But anyway, I've watched a few clips of it here and there on YouTube, and I do think it's really cool how they've done all the presidents. Like, the animatronics look phenomenal in my opinion. They look really real, they look amazing, and I think for Disney to have done that, and again, from my understanding, this attraction has been around for many years, so I think that's really cool in terms of how they've made all these presidents. Having said that though, I don't think there should be an attraction of this sort in a Disney park. I just don't get it. To me, it feels like they're mixing politics with Disney, and it's a very American thing to do because Americans love their presidents, they love their country, they're so patriotic, they think their country's the best, and I feel like this attraction just enforces that. Again, I've not been on it, so I don't know exactly what happens, but just the fact that they have an attraction called Hall of Presidents in a Magic Kingdom style park, it's just not something that sits well with me, I'm not gonna lie. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to put this at the very bottom, because it's a WTF situation. Why do they have this in Magic Kingdom? I don't get it. Next, we have the Liberty Belle Riverboat, which is the equivalent of the Molly Brown boat in Disneyland Paris. So I'm probably going to give it a similar rating because I think these boats are nice, you know, they're nice to go on for a bit, enjoy the views and stuff. But obviously they're not going to be phenomenal, they're not going to be really cool. In fact, I think it's probably actually only meh because it's not even decent enough, it's just alright. Alright, next we have another one of my favourite rides in Magic Kingdom, which is the Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion, believe it or not, is one of the few rides that I actually prefer in Magic Kingdom than I do in Disneyland Paris. Don't get me wrong, I love Phantom Manor as well, but I think there's something about Haunted Mansion that I just enjoy a bit more. I think the storytelling is done a little bit better perhaps, but yeah, I really enjoy it, but I don't love it, so this is gonna go in the really cool category because I do think it's a really cool ride. Right, we have now moved on to our last land, which is Adventureland, and the first attraction we have here is the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. These are fine, right? These are okay. I actually do like where they're located in Magic Kingdom compared to where they are in Walt Disney Studios in Disneyland Paris. I think in Disneyland Paris they're just located very randomly, just in the middle of the park, whereas in Magic Kingdom, in Adventureland, it kind of goes well with the theming around that area of Adventureland. So I do like that, and I like that area actually in general, so I'm gonna put this in the decent enough category. Next we have Jungle Cruise. Now, Lord have mercy, this is another attraction that I just don't understand why people love so much. Again, I feel like it's more of a nostalgic thing for people. Like, if you got to go on this ride a lot as a child, of course you're gonna enjoy it because of the attachment that you have to it when you're older. I never got to go on it as a child because my first visit to Disney World was in 2015 when I was 25, so I don't have that attachment, but I've experienced it a few times as an adult, so I've had different cast members like do the jokes and stuff, and yeah, sometimes it can be funny, you know, I have laughed a couple of times whilst I'm on it, but overall I do feel like it's a very outdated attraction. I don't think it's an attraction that the Disney parks need. Look, it might have been cool in the 1970s, but nowadays there are so many better ways to make attractions that I think this just doesn't need to be there. So I really want to put this in the WTF category, but I know I'm going to get so much hate for it, and I also do think it's maybe a little bit better than Carousel of Progress, so we're going to put it in the meh category. I feel like even that is going to get me a lot of hate, so I'm sorry in advance, please understand, this is just my opinion. Alright, next we have Pirates of the Caribbean in Adventureland, which is actually not one of my favorites at all. I love this ride in Disneyland Paris, but again, compared to the one in Paris, this one just doesn't hold up. So again, I can take it or leave it. Like, whenever I go to Magic Kingdom, this isn't a ride that I feel like I have to go on. It's a bit better than It's a Small World though, so I'm gonna put this right in the middle in the decent enough category. Any Walt Disney World fans watching this, if you've never been to Disneyland Paris before, I promise you once you get to experience the one in Paris, you will realize why I've put this in the decent enough category. It's because I've been on better rides, so I might be a bit more harsh in judging Pirates as a ride because I know what Pirates can be. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just think it's very much an alright ride only in Magic Kingdom, and I also base it on how often I go on it. Like, I think I've only ever been on Pirates in Magic Kingdom twice in all my visits to Walt Disney World, and I think that says a lot because if I loved it more I would have gone on it more, and I just don't. So there you go. Okay, we've only got 2 attractions left because this last one of course is the Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast attraction. For some reason they've done that twice. So the penultimate attraction that we have here is the Swiss Robinson's treehouse situation, and again this is one of those attractions that I would go on only if I've done everything else, and only like maybe once or twice in my whole life. I think that's enough. I don't need to do it all the time. It can be fun. It does give you some fun views of the park. I think the last time I did this was with my friend Marie back in 2018. It's alright, you know, it's alright. It's not amazing. It's probably actually more meh than decent enough. So yeah, sorry, we're gonna put this in the meh category. And finally, oh god, I'm actually so scared to judge this because I know that a lot of people absolutely love this attraction. However, I really dislike this attraction, and this is the Tiki Rooms. I just don't understand the point of this, right? Why would I want to go and sit in this place and have a bunch of birds that aren't even real sing to me? Like, oh, I mean, it's funny. Tiki Rooms is funny because it's so cringeworthy that it just makes me laugh. But also, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's so awful that I also start to feel a bit uncomfortable. Like, I don't enjoy myself. Unlike with the Country Bear Jamborees, where I actually do have a great time when I see it, this one just makes me feel uncomfortable, okay? I don't like it. I think the song's really annoying. I get why it's become a classic because the animatronics in it are really good, especially for when they were made, because again, this is an attraction that's been around for a long time. And I appreciate that, yeah, when it first opened, it would have been a really cool thing to see. However, now, again, if it was my first time going to Walt Disney World, if I was a teenager and I was going to Magic Kingdom for the first time and I had no clue about Disney's history and I went on this attraction, I would be so confused. I would just think, what the hell, like, is this what Disney is? I almost feel embarrassed that Disney has this attraction around still. Please don't hate me, please. I understand that it's a big part of Disney history, right? I already said all of this. I just don't understand it myself. I don't like it. I think it's a pretty bad attraction, so for that reason we're going to put it in the bottom in the WTF category, and we are done. Let's have a quick scan again of all the attractions. So at the very top in the phenomenal category, we've got Philhar Magic, the Little Mermaid ride, and Splash Mountain. That absolutely makes sense to me because these 3 are my 3 favorite attractions in Magic Kingdom, so I'm happy with that. In the really cool category, we've got the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Astro Orbiters, Thunder Mountain, and the Haunted Mansion. Again, that is perfect because these 4 rides would be the ones that I would want to do after I've done those first 3. In the decent enough category, we've got the Carousel, Winnie the Pooh, Dumbo, Barnstormer, Lord have mercy. I don't know, maybe I should move Barnstormer down. Nah, I'm gonna keep it there because it makes me lol. So yeah, Barnstormer, Space Mountain, Laugh Floor, Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast, the People Mover, Country Bear Jamborees, Aladdin's Magical Carpets, and Pirates of the Caribbean. Again, I think that's pretty accurate with how I feel about these attractions. Then we've got in the meh category, Peter Pan's Flight, the Teacups, It's a Small World, Tomorrowland Speedway, the Train, Tom's Raft, shout out to Rebecca, the Riverboat, Jungle Cruise, and Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. Yep, that is pretty accurate to me as well. And of course, in the WTF category, we've got the Carousel of Progress, Hall of Presidents, and the Tiki Rooms. And that is it. That is my tier list for the attractions in Magic Kingdom. I know that I made quite a lot of controversial choices in this video, so feel free to let me know in the comments down below if you don't agree with some of the things that I said. I'm very specific with how I feel about attractions, and I also have the benefit of having been to Disneyland Paris as well, so whether I like it or not, I end up comparing the attractions to what I know in Disneyland Paris, and some of them just aren't as good as the ones in Paris. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that the way I judge them is from the perspective of someone who's been on almost every single ride in every single Disney park. The only Disney resort I've not been to yet is Tokyo Disney, so that might mean that I'm a bit more harsh with my judgment. But there you go. I hope you still enjoyed this video. Sorry if I offended anyone. At the end of the day, it's literally just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just one person's opinion. So I respect yours. Hopefully you will respect mine. My friend Rebecca, for instance, she's a big fan of the Tiki Room. Does that mean she's wrong? No. It's just her opinion. She enjoys them. I really don't. That is absolutely fine. You know, we can still be friends. Thank you so much for watching. Leave suggestions of what you would like me to do next in terms of tier lists, because I really enjoy doing them, and you know, it seems like you do as well. So thank you. Follow me on Instagram if you want to, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.